but so I was lucky in that way, and it was natural to me to be drawn to whatever sounded good.
Yeah.
And if your friends are really into it and they make you a mixtape, then
Kalu.
you
It's
start
so
playing that.
romantic when people would do that. I was like,
Oh, you know, because a mixtape isn't just a mixtape.
yeah.
A mixtape is a declaration of your heart, really. I mean, if you think about it,
Yeah.
that's what it was all about.
I made a mixtape for this band, Mindless Rebellion, and they're all, thanks, but we can't play it. They're all like 18, and I was like, you don't have a tape player like in your car? And they're all, we don't have a car. Like, okay. Was there like I noticed that there's still skinheads in Hawaii, but it doesn't, it's everybody's just kind of mellow. Like, do you remember there being like a lot of aggro?
Racial tension type
Yeah.
of stuff? Well, that's the funny thing. It's like the skinhead movement, for those of you that don't understand what that is it's a lot of bullethead guys running around, and
Hot.
and there's a brotherhood, fraternity kind of element to it. But in the 80s, there was a lot of racial element involved in it that was very violent in some cities. Portland, in particular, had a very violent skinhead scene.
Oh.
There were some Ethiopian men that were beaten to death, and sort of blew that up there and got the exposure. And a lot of the Aryan race KKK guys were involved in basically gangs of young angry young men.
And they were perpetrating as skinheads,
and
because they shaved their heads?
They sort of did a lot of recruitment, and so there were a lot of those sorts of elements that were running around on the mainland. But here, you'll get your ass kicked. I'm sorry, but you know.
If you're acting racist and dumb.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
asking
there's
for it.
just there's just not room for that here, because if you're a white skinhead, you are definitely in the minority here if you're a racist skinhead. And so the skinhead movement here was very much of the fraternal brotherhood type of, I guess,
Carrying on.
And
Do you remember Harsh?
yes, Harsh, yep,
Hawaii
and all those
anti-racist
skinheads, yep.
I had a button. Somebody gave it to me at the candy store I worked at. I was like, this is hot. I probably can't wear it. But maybe I can meet a boy.
Yeah. So all the skinheads that I knew were all different ethnic backgrounds, and it was cool. You know, it wasn't that other element. Sometimes military guys would come over here and they'd think that was
The deal.
that there was the deal of, you know, being an asshole, but that definitely they learned that
They got
pretty
shut
quick.
down pretty fast.
Pretty quick. So
Right
and that's
on.
great. So
Do you still see any of those skinny boys around?
you know, I haven't seen anybody on this trip
No?
that was a skinhead in particular.
Okay.
But I keep in contact on the Facebook
Oh.
with some folks. So, and that's nice.
Right
It's
on.
great to see people still doing stuff. So.
Still raising hell.
Still raising hell and
Okay.
having a good time.
So you lived in LA for a little while too, right?
I did.
And what was that? What did you do there?
While I was working there, I worked for part-time for Golden Voice Productions, which was established here, putting on concerts for a long
That was
time.
a Hawaii company?
No, it wasn't a Hawaii company. It was
Oh.
an LA company, but they had branched out
they'd
and
come here.
put shows on here.
Oh, okay.
And I got involved with them while working at Jellies
Here.
here in Hawaii.
And then did it in LA.
And then when I moved to LA, I contacted them because I needed work, and I was working a little bit for them, and then also managing Rhino Records, the record store.
So you're a music lady.
Music lady,
Can
yeah.
you make music?
I'm not very good at it.
Do you eat beans? No, I'm just kidding.
I DJ. That's about as
DJ?
involved as I get.
What do you like to DJ?
Well, I started out doing lounge music and
Okay.
lounge cocktail music and Latin jazz, and now I sort of mix up everything,
Nothing
all
speci-
sorts of genres. I don't really stick within any genre.
What you have a party tonight,
particular.
right? That you're DJing.
This is unusual for me to just do all Latin
Latin
jazz
fever.
and Latin soul.
Wow.
So
right
that'll
on.
be fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is Latin jazz and Latin soul? Like, is it all in Spanish?
No, some of it's
The beats?
Portuguese.
Oh, really? Oh, good. Plenty Brazilians in Hawaii now.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
I don't have to be there, but yeah.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, Latin jazz and soul that I play is either performed by those of a variety of of ethnic backgrounds.
Colors.
All throughout, either from Mexico and down into South America and even in Spain. And then, or it's inspired by those sounds that emulate different.
Did you get into a lot of the Spanish stuff living in LA? Was there a lot of brown things
Well,
going on in your life?
It's funny. Yeah, for some reason I just really have always liked sort of Spanish and Mexican sounds.
Ooh.
Ay caramba. But when I lived in Los Angeles, I started collecting some of that music. And when I returned to Hawaii in '94, I was working again at a record store, and I just had the opportunity to. It just was a time when certain music wasn't appreciated by a large amount of people. So I pretty much cleaned up on a lot of really great stuff that I was very fortunate. Yeah. Nobody else wanted it. I was pretty much the only person buying it. So, you know.
And then she made us listen to it.
Can I have those Sergio Mendes records? I love it. So, you know.
What made you come back to Hawaii back then, after LA?
I was broke.
Oh, tell me about it. Me too.
I saved up all my money when I was there so I could go travel around Europe for a few months, and that's pretty much about as long as I lasted.
You went to Europe? What'd you do? Where'd you go?
I started out in London and went up to Manchester and into over to Ireland and spent some time in Dublin and Galway.
White power.
I know, crazy. And then I went over to Berlin and stayed there for about a month with a friend of mine that I knew from Hawaii, Bianca Perndal.
Oh, really? Banca? Oh.
And because we had been in contact over the years.
Cute.
And stayed with her in this awesome, like, crazy flat. And then we went to Czechoslovakia, which had split at that time. So.
Oh, okay.
And we,
with her?
Yep, with her and a bunch of crazy friends, and had a good time, and then went back to London and figured out I was broke.
I was like, why am I so hungry? How long were you in Europe?
I was there about 4 months.
Oh, okay. Wow,
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah,
Right
so
on.
I got to spend a good amount of time and see a lot of things, and
And then you came back to Hawaii at that point. This is
yeah, luckily,
late 90s.
this is '94.
Okay.
I bought a one-way ticket back from Los Angeles to Honolulu.
Okay.
So knowing that I would probably be totally broke and come back home crying to my family. So that's what I did.
That's what we all do.
That's what we all did.
And then you came back and you turned to a big fag hag, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I've pretty much been a fag hag most of my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you wear like leggings and puffy paint oversized sweaters?
No, no. I wore the neon socks with my jellies.
Oh, okay.
My jelly shoes. And
It's a fag haggy, but it was.
no.
It worked.
It worked.
Yeah, it
It
was part of the
worked.
uniform.
It was part of the uniform.
So, but then because I remember you coming, we used to all go out to Kids Club all the time at Fusion back in the day, and you entered the Misunderstood pageant.
Oh, yes.
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 And what kind of pageant was that? How would you describe it?
Well, I would describe it as a pageant, not a drag show.
Okay.
That's the excuse that Scooby gave me. Scooby
Okay.
was the coordinator,
Producer.
of this pageant, and he really wanted to branch it out from just the
Just a
boys.
bunch of queers.
He really wanted to have some of the lesbians involved.
Are you
and
some of the lesbians?
I'm not some of the lesbians,
Oh.
but I'm lesbian friends.
Okay. Lesbi friends.
Lesbi friends.
Okay.
So.
And you.
He talked me into it. He was like, "Well, if I can't get anyone, would you do it?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Whatever." I was probably loaded,
Talking,
like out drinking and dancing at the time, I'm
Oh,
sure.
really?
And then he calls me up and says, "Oh yeah, you got to do it." And I thought, "Oh gosh, I got to do
And
this."
immediately you put tape on your tits and hit the stage and roller skates?
I made my costume.